Hello guys, here is a 1930s GE Quiet Blade fan. Let's take a look at the informations. This is 49X723. Whatever that number is a Y4031. Says 115 volts, 60 cycles, 0.7 amps. This is the specification number 272809-1. So I got this at an antique store. Paid about $45 for this thing, which I think was a reasonable deal for one of these things. After all, you really don't see these much, so I thought it was reasonable to have it priced that. And it was really the only, I saw a Westinghouse fan and a Superior Electric fan there. The Westinghouse fan was like $60. It was an 8-inch one. I kind of thought that was ridiculous for a fan that size. And I saw a 12-inch Superior Electric fan. Again, a cool fan, but it was kind of ridiculous price, especially knowing that Superior Electric really does not make very good fans at all. But this was a reasonable deal, so I bought it. And, there's one repair that I successfully did. It wasn't really a problem, but just more of a cosmetic problem. I replaced the cord on it. The cord that it had when I got the fan was one of those double insulated cords. In fact, I have it right here. It's not cracking by any means or dangerous, but it just didn't look right for a fan like this, in my opinion. So I just replaced that just for cosmetic purposes. And it does appear that the gearbox or something's having a problem, and I think I know what the problem might be. And that is because these screws, the threads in there, they're stripped out, so you really can't tighten these screws in there, which really stinks. But these gearboxes were made of some sort of a pot metal when they were brand new. So, pot metal doesn't really hold up over time. So that probably is why it happened. And I've also been told that you got to be careful when handling these gearboxes, because a lot of them, I've been told, the gearbox had issues with getting brittle. And I'm not talking about getting brittle 2 years after production. I'm talking about getting brittle 80, 90 years later, so you really can't even blame it. And that pot metal that these were made of just softened out over time. I wonder if all the grease sitting in there just speeds up the decaying process. Pot metal really is not the most durable metal to begin with, but I think probably all the grease in there made it worse. So yeah, I replaced the cord on it. I think it looks much better on it. The switch is original. That's still working just fine. So let's go ahead and plug it in. So here's on. This is the only speed that the fan has. It doesn't have any more speeds other than that. And yeah, it's quiet. I'm going to shut off the Panasonic that I have here. Yeah, that is quiet, all right. It appears as though the blade's a little out of bounds because the guard is kind of shaking, but the airflow on this fan is pretty enormous. And the blades have a pretty good amount of pitch to it. And on top of that, the blades are overlapping, which it's why it's called a quiet blade. It made the electric fans quieter. So yeah, you really don't notice that the fan is running. So the fan is rated at 0.7 amps. The kilowatt meter is saying 0.67 amps, which it's right around the amount of power that's allowed to draw. And I'll show you guys the problem with the gearbox here. Yeah, as you can see, it has some sort of life going. Not much though, yeah, it's kind of shaky and it's not really working quite right, so it's It needs some work done to it, but hopefully not much. So yeah, it's it runs great. Rattles a tiny bit, but that might be able to get corrected. I think maybe the gauge is a little loose. It's still doing that. Yeah, I think something's loose. I think that's what the problem is. Alright, well, I'll turn it off and you can see the spin down time. Alright, thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and more to come later.